Hi everyone, and welcome back to Coffee, Books, and Rain. So this is my secondary account for my YouTube platform, my first one being Hope and Coffee, which focuses primarily on pretty much like articles and things that I find interesting and all that sort of fun stuff. Coffee, Books, and Rain is here to help you with any literary knowledge that you would like to know, as well as books coming out. And I have several books coming out that I'm going to try to do some episodes for, and as well as like past books that have been written for like fan favorites, my favorites, poetry, and those sorts of things. So if you ever have anything you would like me to discuss, I do have a master's degree in literature with a focus in composition and epic poetry, but yes, so there's a couple books right here that I might be talking about over the next few weeks, and I have a couple books down here, and honestly my entire apartment is always full of books. So I love a physical book. I love to be able to see almost that physical progress bar of the pages that have gone past, to know how far I am into it, to know how quickly things are going to be resolved. Well, today's episode is about The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown. And so I want to release this episode on the day that it is going to be releasing to the public, which is February 13th. So I highly encourage people to read this book. This one was a really fun one for me, and I'm going to get into kind of why. Now, my book episodes are a little bit longer sometimes than my primary channel, which focuses to be about 8 to 10 minutes. Book channel tends to be 10 to 15 minutes, just depending on how much I dive into the book, as well as I try not to give any spoilers. I do try to, since a lot of these are going to be advanced reader copies, I try to hold back from releasing too many spoilers, or hopefully any spoilers at all, with the hopes that you'll go out there, give these authors a chance, give these books a read or listen, whatever your preferred medium is for consuming books, and then come back and tell me what you thought. And I would love to have a conversation, because if I like it and you don't, I'd love to know what parts didn't work for you and maybe what did. I love constructive criticism. I love being able to talk, and I love when opinions are like differing. I love when there are different things to stand out to each individual. So that's what this platform is for, is to, I guess, speak in the common language of books, and hopefully from there be able to start a dialogue of anything and everything about knowledge, open-mindedness, and understanding. So, diving into The Book of Doors, I will just give a very few statistics on it, because again, this is more about my personal thoughts on the book rather than the thoughts of others. However, Goodreads has got this at about 4.06 stars, which is pretty good, but honestly, I kind of gave it 5. I gave it 4.5 to 5. I felt like it was very fun action, not too... there was some drama, but not too much drama. It is definitely considered fantasy, definitely considered magical realism. So let's go with that. And I'm also going to give a shout out to NetGalley and the publishing company, which is, let me make sure I get their publishing company correct. I believe it's William Morrow, if I'm looking at the NetGalley website correctly. But just wanted to say that from the description on NetGalley, it is a debut novel full of magic, adventure, and romance. The Book of Doors opens up a thrilling world of contemporary fantasy for readers of The Midnight Library, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, The Night Circus, and many modern stories that mix the wonder of unknown with just a tinge of darkness. So that is a great capture line for me. That description is what caught my attention and why I requested this book. So The Night Circus is one of my more favorite, very dreamlike, very submersive into your senses if you allow yourself to be drawn in all those sorts of ways. Of course, it's fantastical, and it's this imagery wise in my mind, absolutely gorgeous with the blacks and reds and whites and silvers and magic abounding. Sorry, needed a sip of coffee there. But to give you just actually a little bit of the summary that is also on the NetGalley account as well as Goodreads. Cassie Andrews works in a New York City bookshop, shelving books and making coffee for customers, living in an unassuming, ordinary life. Until the day one of her favorite customers, a lonely yet charming old man, dies right in front of her. Now again, no spoilers, this is part of the summary, so I'm not giving anything away that you're not going to run into in the first 10 pages. Cassie is devastated, and she always loved his stories and has nothing to remember him by, nothing but the book he was reading. But this is no ordinary book. It is the Book of Doors. And I'm not going to read the rest of that because there is quite a bit more to the summary. But what it is the Book of Doors comes into her life. And when she first opens it after her patron of her coffee shop has passed away, it seems to have an inscription from him to her, telling her, that he hopes that, she'll find her next steps or next adventures, that sort of thing. When she opens the book another time, she realizes that the inscription is gone, so she doesn't know if she imagined it or not. She takes her book back to her apartment with her roommate, and if I remember correctly, I think her roommate's name is Izzy. But anyway, so yeah, Izzy is her roommate, and they pretty much realize, kind of disbelievingly realize that when Cassie holds the book in her hand and really thinks about a door in her memory or anything like that, actually she learns that she can do it from pictures or from that sort of thing. If she starts to imagine the door and in its setting, in its surroundings, wherever it may be in the world, that whatever door is in front of her, so may it be the bathroom door, may it be the kitchen door, the hallway door, if it is closed, if she's holding the book in one hand, she can open the door and it opens up into the door that she is imagining. So she's able to open a door onto a rainy Italian streetway, and she's able to open the door and go to various other places and London and all sorts of places around the world. So it's just so fascinating, this way of quick travel, because I've always wished that I had this ability to, kind of quick travel. I have my mom who's 3.5 hours away that I would love to just be able to open a door, such as my closet door to my, that's to my right over here. I don't know which direction that is for you. And just be at her house instead of having to drive that 3.5 hours over there when I'm feeling like I want some company. But such a good, enthralling book, and I do like the fact that if you've read, Night Circus, or if you've read The Starless Sea, or any other books of that nature, where there's kind of this library and this need for collecting knowledge, to almost hoard knowledge, there are individuals throughout this book who collect and hoard these types of books. And so that's kind of the premise of what this is people quickly realize, because she is not kind of hiding its ability, she is very much using it willy-nilly without, maybe staying inside her apartment. She's going to rooftop bars in New York City. She's going here, there, and everywhere around the world, without kind of thinking much about it, that there are people hiding in the shadows, lurking around corners, that have been looking for this book, the Book of Doors, for an unknown amount of time. And one of the taglines for the summary is, some doors should not be opened. So that is a very kind of interesting tagline as well, because of course it draws you to be like, well, what's going to happen? How is this narrative going to play out? Like, is she going to get to keep the book? Is she going to have to sacrifice the book? What's going to happen with her friendship with Izzy? All this sorts of things, because she was just kind of pretty much a coffee barista at the coffee shop in New York. Well, it's a bookshop with a coffee shop in New York City. And now she's kind of thrown into this adventure where people are hunting her because of this book that she's been gifted. Now, I don't know about you, but if it was me, I probably would have tried to use it a little more covertly, I think would be the best word to say. I feel like when you have some sort of, like, maybe I've read enough books, I don't know, but I feel like there have been enough books to set a precedent for me and for her working in a bookshop. I feel like she should have read some of these books as well, that would tell you right off the bat, or instill like maybe even an underlying knowledge to not use these sorts of things in public or where a lot of people can see. I feel like that's kind of rule number one in gaining a magic artifact. I find that is often the rule that gets broken the most when we run across these sorts of situations. And so Cassie and Izzy are they encounter this other gentleman who also has possession of a book, or maybe even a couple books, but his name is Drummond Fox. And he doesn't seem as though he really wants to take the book from them, but he is the one who's going to help them kind of understand the book and the powers that it has, because he himself has some magic books as well that he wants to keep hidden away from other people. But by helping Izzy and Cassie, he is putting himself on the line a bit to being exposed to these other individuals. And I think that's really kind of an interesting sort of twist, because I'm not sure I would really want to put myself on the line, as much as I think that it's like really great that he wants to help. I also am kind of that also person who kind of, I don't know. I think I'm going to kind of like try to give her some advice without maybe revealing too much that I have my own books. I don't know. It's very interesting, but definitely want to encourage you all to go out and find this book. I think the cover, for one thing, was one thing that really caught my attention. There's something about using blue and gold and doors and books that always seems to capture my attention. I will probably always open it up and try to take a read or review of what's going on inside. That is a very easy way to hook me from the very beginning. Now, they always say never judge a book by its cover, but I truly feel like, at least in this day and age, people have really learned that cover graphic design will grab the audience that you're looking for. Now, maybe in the old days we shouldn't judge from the outside, but I think nowadays it's going to give you a kind of a pulse check before you dive into it, and I love it. So definitely want to recommend. And so I want to thank you so much for tuning in. The Book of Doors is available February 13th, but the author is Gareth Brown. So please look forward to that. It is a